Are we live? Looks like we're live. So today I'm here with my good friend, Sonny G. He's a local comedian, a very funny, hilarious guy. And I met him through some of the charity work I was doing with veterans organizations. I was helping a group called Soldiers Angels. We've become really good friends. I was at his wedding, actually. I believe it was on Valentine's Day in 2020. And in addition to doing a great job at stand-up comedy, he's done comedy in California and in San Antonio and close to Austin. He also runs some charities. He's an officer with the South Texas Blind Veterans Association. He's also with Lift Foundation San Antonio, which helps veterans, and they also help people who are blind and blind veterans. So, Sonny, how are you doing today?
Hey, how's it going, Joseph?
So
We're doing good.
Good.
Just a little hangover from that Cowboys game. I wasn't drinking, but it was a really horrible ending to that game. So, yeah.
Are you a Cowboys fan?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. Gerard, what happened to your video?
Hold on. I think possibly there's a phone call coming in. I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Oh, that happens. That's totally fine.
Hey, I'm gonna fix that real quick.
Okay. That's the joys of live.
Yeah,
live. No, it's all good. I didn't know you were a Cowboys fan. I'm learning new things. There you are. All right. And today we're going to be talking about a wide variety of topics. We're going to be talking about comedy, how you can be funnier, how to implement humor when you're speaking, and then just some of the lessons you've learned through running charities and also through being a comedian and being on stage. Are you ready to get started, Gerard? I mean, Sonny?
Hold on, I'm trying to get my phone adjusted. Do you see me?
I don't see you yet, no. Now I see you.
Oh, you got me now?
I got you, yeah.
Yeah, for some reason my volume went down, but I can hear you slightly.
Okay.
You're gonna have to yell.
Feel free to put it higher. Let me know if you can put it a little bit higher, but I can yell too. All right. Just let me know when you're ready, Sonny.
Okay. Yeah. Let me hear your voice there.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you're pretty low. So you kind of yell a little bit.
Let me yell.
See me pretty good?
I can see you just fine. Let me know if you can't hear me.
All right, go ahead. Hit me. What you got?
All right, Sonny. So you've been a comedian for how long? How long have you been a comedian for, Sonny?
Roughly 2 years now.
Roughly 2 years. And my question has to do with like when you decided to become a comedian. What was that moment like? What was your first time on stage, and what drew you to comedy? What is it about comedy that you like? And feel free to put it up.
It's something I've always wanted to do, Joe.
Yeah.
I was scared out of my mind the first time I went out on stage, which is natural.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I didn't have to see people because of my blindness. So that took took half of it away.
Yeah.
And it was a competition for new people to come in where the judges would gong you, and they would tell you what you're doing wrong to begin with. Yeah. And I went through all my set, and I won that competition the very first time I went up on stage.
Wow. And how did you prepare for that competition? Like, what was the preparation like before your first time getting on stage for that? Sounds like a gong show where they would gong you off the stage, right?
Yeah. I wrote some jokes over time. I scratched out a lot of jokes. I wrote some more. I got a little bit of advice off the internet. Mm-hmm. There is actually a lot of advice in schools on the internet for doing comedy. I read a few of those, and I took my chances. It was like I said, it was fun, weird, scary, all at the same time. In the end, I fell in love for sure at that point.
So your first time doing it, you fell in love with it. You won the show. How many other people were competing during that time?
I think it's
Do you know?
about 30
Wow, that's awesome.
at Laugh Out Loud Comedy Club in San Antonio.
Yeah. Laugh Out Loud Comedy Club, shout out in San Antonio. Very funny place. Very cool. And I wanted to ask you, okay, so that was your first time getting on stage. When did you first have that inkling or that thought that you wanted to do comedy?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
When did you first have the thought that you wanted to do comedy? When did you first have that thought?
When I first saw Richard Pryor, he did such a great job years ago.
Yeah.
And then Eddie Murphy. And I was inspired by the older comedians and a lot of sitcoms that were out there, Saturday Night Live. And when I was a kid, that's always something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But until I just really had nothing to do after I went blind, I decided this is the time. I'm going to do it. What the heck? So I did.
Very cool. Decided to do it. Sonny, I noticed you're having trouble hearing me. Is it possible to let's try to put that volume up. Let's get it right if we can. Is it possible for you to put the volume up on your phone?
I think I might have hit like a mute button on this thing.
If you can hear me slowly, it's probably not on mute. It's just probably needs.
There we go. I hear you now. Real good.
Awesome. Okay, let's get it right and do it right. That's awesome. And now that you can hear me, I see you putting it to your ear now. Now put the video on, and then.
Yeah, it needed to go from hearing to the speaker. So yeah, we're there. We're good.
Very good.
Not on.
Huh?
You have the video?
I have the video on. Now, if you can yell a little bit, I can't hear
you. Okay, I'm on. I'm ready.
All right, we're good. We're good. So you decided, you had that idea. Let me ask you this. What's your favorite comedy bit or favorite comedy show of all time that you've ever seen?
I love so many. I can't really point one out, but really Airplane for a movie and comedy show. Oh, probably Eddie Murphy's Raw. And yeah, we'll go with that. We'll stick with that.
Okay. Very good. So you had this idea, you wanted to do comedy. And was there a turning point when you decided to do it? Because I've also had that thought of doing comedy, but I haven't done it because it's very scary. It's the idea of going on stage. Was there like a turning point in your mind where you're like, okay, I'm ready to do this now. Nothing can stop me. I'm going to do it. Was there a moment like that in your life?
Yes. And it was that same year in April. And it was actually on April 1st. I was a veteran who was on opiates from the VA for the pain in my back and several other things. And I was depressed over a long period of time, 5 years since I went blind. I mean, for 5 years, I was super depressed because of the blindness. And I was thinking at some point, I was just going to stop it there, end it all. And unfortunately, I got the help I needed. And that day, I had figured that I was going to go ahead and try at least one thing in my life that I've always wanted to do before I check out. But now I don't want to check out. And I want to go for the comedy because I want to laugh all the time. I needed to get out and laugh. Yeah. Laughing is life-saving. I've come to find out. And I don't even think about it anymore. Matter of fact, now I take my laughter and I help blind veterans or any veteran thinking about suicide. I help them get out of that. I help work them through. And sometimes I'll stay up late at night and I'll be talking them to the phone, and I do whatever it takes to keep and support my brothers out there. And so that's what turned me around to do that.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So, this just goes to show that like comedy and laughter can save someone's life. I mean, you've lived that.
It's necessary. It's necessary and biblical.
It's biblical?
Yes,
I didn't know that. That's very cool.
Oh, yeah. Jesus loved telling jokes.
Yeah, I like it. Very cool. And yeah, laughter, I've always heard laughter is the best medicine, but it's interesting to think about how it can really just turn things around. It turned things around in your life. And now, I see you up there on stage and I'm just cracking up. It's good stuff. What advice would you give to someone who is scared to go on stage to do comedy, but has always wanted to do it?
Well, go ahead and practice at home out loud. You have to do it that way. You really need to speak it out. write down some jokes,
Mhm.
say them out loud in your room, maybe get yourself your own microphone and, speaker unit and mic stand, create the environment for yourself like you are going up on stage,
Yeah.
and go ahead and put your voice through the microphone, try it out. And then once you feel good about a little 5-minute set, you could go to the open mics. There's not many really going on right now because of COVID, but the open mics give you the opportunity to go in front of people. Like they'll have them at bars, they'll have them at comedy clubs. And if you look for them, you can find them, but they're kind of rare right now, but they used to be around all day, all night.
Yeah.
So then you want to judge the reactions of people with what you do, but you do got to break the ice with yourself
Mhm.
and just go up there a couple of times and let loose. Expect not to get laughs the first couple of times.
Okay.
If you get one laugh, you keep that joke, and then you work on new jokes, but keep that joke. And you get new laughs from the new set, you work on that. And it takes time. And just like a professional, if if you get it, an amateur will get it right the first time. A professional will practice till he gets it. He can't get it wrong. It's
Yeah.
just like that. And expect to be let down. But when you are let down and you don't feel like you made the audience laugh, you've actually learned use that information and figure out why, and you'll start to work. Take advice from other comedians too,
Mhm.
and don't be afraid. You got to do it right now in this day and age. If you
Yeah.
made it through 2020, you're brave enough now to go through try out anything. It's just like a job interview, and being
Yeah.
a comedian is a job. You got to think of it that way. It's your duty to learn your job.
Yeah. That's a great point. It's like you talk a lot about it's your job, being a professional. It's like something you show up for every day.
Yes.
What's your routine like when it comes to writing jokes? Like, how do you do that? How do you write your jokes or come up with new material?
Well, they just come to you. I get some from the Daily News, and since I'm blind, I
Yeah.
actually, for me, uh, I could do one. I get a lot of blind jokes just from being around people. People
Yeah.
just give me ideas. Maybe I get a lot of my blind jokes out of riding Uber, and the silly questions that people ask me sometimes. Uh, I work a lot of jokes from that, and pretty much a lot of my set is making fun of the people who ask me stupid questions.
Yeah.
So or ask me personal questions that they really shouldn't be asking, and I've learned to develop funny comebacks or funny answers to those questions, and that's part of what I use on stage. So
Yeah. So that they're giving you material basically. Like, that's also
life
an interesting idea. Yeah.
life is handing you material all day. You just got to recognize it and capture it.
Very cool. Very cool.
A lot of
And
comedians work with their family and children. Children provide a lot of material, um, and
yeah.
that's a good route to go because that's understandable by most people in a crowd. Is the family life, and and then at work,
Yeah.
if you like talk to people on the phone and stuff like that, it's just it's all around you, and you just got to grab at, pick it, and then refine it and refine it and refine it. Get rid of all the extra words that you originally put in, because most people write a novel at first, but when you come down to it, it comes down to a sentence of
Yeah.
actual humor. Yeah.
That's a good point. So like a lot of comedy is like you're cutting out stuff. You want it to be quick. So you want to like cut out, just have the essential. So the perfect joke would just be like very essential.
Yeah. And watch the successful comedians, watch their timing, and you got to give room for people to laugh. Some people just speed through their set so they won't forget it. You got to relax and let people laugh at the funny jokes right at the end. Some people don't do that, and that kills the whole thing.
Yeah. Give the audience room to laugh. I love that. And okay, so earlier you mentioned life is constantly giving you jokes. You just have to pay attention to it. How do you flex that muscle of noticing those joke opportunities out in the world? Like, how does that
Hmm.
happen? Like, how did you build that? Because I'm sure that it wasn't natural. It's something that just happened that you
Well,
basically
I
as a
think I
professional.
think me and a lot of comedians who I know, if you
Yeah.
had a little bit of a sarcastic personality,
Mhm.
uh, that if you have a sarcastic background, you're thinking, and that kind of helps me quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I noticed it was an annoying thing, I would say, but if I could turn around, refine it, it would turn into actually a joke really quick. So, and you know, since I'm blind, I get a whole new level of jokes because I can really talk about blind people and disabled people without punishment. So, and that's how I do it. And it's just, I think for me, it might be just a little easier because I've been through hell and back, and you know, when you look back, it was actually kind of funny. My mentality and the things I said and did back in life. um,
Yeah.
and life is funny, and that's why I called my organization Love is Funny Texas.
Yeah.
Or LIFT.
That's what the lift stands for. And yeah, I mean, life is funny. I agree with you on that. Let me see.
Yes, it is.
We've both lived that, I believe. And we're having some comments here. So I want to give a shout out to the people in the chat. I want to give a shout out to, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Soumya, all the way from India, who's watching at 1:33 at night in India. And then got my producer / sister, Larissa. We also have Aaron Fritz. And Aaron has a question here. He says, when was the first time you did a show and felt 100% comfortable as a comedian? What was that like?
I was in Pflugerville, and the first time I was a headliner. I was asked to headline the show, and it was at basically one of those CBD shops, that was run by some veterans, and I headlined the show, and that was my first time headlining, and I felt so proud of myself and so comfortable about doing it, and doing it for my veterans for the first time, and I just felt relaxed. I talked my head off, and it was like a shining moment for me.
Yeah.
And that's when I did feel really comfortable with it.
Yeah. You felt comfortable, and that's very cool. And I want to ask about the opposite side. Like, have you ever bombed on stage, and how do you recover from that? What's that like? I think that's the big fear. Because I know with my public speaking, if someone doesn't get it, they don't know I was trying to be funny or a certain thing. But with comedy, people know you're trying to be funny. So how do you deal with bombing?
Well, bombing is a natural part of starting in the comic business. You will, if you never bombed, you never went up on stage. Put it that way. Expect to bomb. And take it as a learning experience. Don't be butthurt. Just take it as a learning experience. And if you got to chuckle somewhere, start from there. Just like I said earlier, expect to bomb. That's why you want to practice and do open mics and find out what makes your audience laugh where you're at. And that will change it from location to location. A joke that works in Texas might not work in Los Angeles or, somewhere else. So you got to be prepared for that. And you got to study to build your confidence. And like I said, practice. Expect to bomb. Always expect to bomb. You can't all of a sudden pick up a guitar and start, strumming the hits right away. You got to figure out which note is, which. So expect to bomb. Don't expect to get the song right the first time you pick up a guitar.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Same exact thing. It's a part of the process, and that's you learning real quick. So I like it.
Yes, sir.
And how do you deal with after you bomb? It's probably a bad feeling, I would imagine. How do you deal with that feeling? How do you recover from it? Is there any routine? You're just I'm going to treat myself today because at least I went out there. Anything like that?
Yeah. Go and ask some of the other comedians that were on stage that were funny. Set them up before you go up. Tell them, hey, I want you to pay attention to me and critique me. Let people criticize you. Let them, get set up and have somebody ready to tell you, okay, I didn't like your approach. You didn't come out with energy. You didn't. They'll point out all the things you should do to get the energy going and to keep going with it afterwards. And practice. You said, get rid of that joke. Get rid of this joke. This joke was great. Work on that. Add stuff to it. They'll tell you. They will tell you, but you got to ask. They're not going to volunteer. right away. You got to make friends in the business. You got to make friends in the business, and you got to get criticized and critiqued. Um,
Yeah.
and it'll really help you. And once you build that rapport with other comedians that are trying out there, you'll see people who are really just not outgoing. They'll go up there, get scared, and not talk to anybody, and basically run out the club, and you never see them again. You can't do that. You got to make friends, talk to people, especially the ones you thought were really funny before you went up.
Yeah.
Make sure go in there and observe a couple of open mics, uh, or amateur shows, and make
Yeah.
some friends first before you go up on stage, and let them know you really want to be in it and you want to be critiqued.
Yeah. That's awesome. Cause that helps you to grow. And I can see like someone wanting to run off and not talk about it if they bomb, but really the best thing is to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. And I wanted to ask you, what's the difference in crowds between, you said you've done comedy in California, you've done it in Texas, two very different states, but they seem to be aligned in that people from California are moving to Texas and people from Texas move to California too a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference in those crowds?
Not much.
Okay.
Yeah, not much. I can tell you in California, they're a little bit more critical because entertainment is all day and all night. Comedy clubs are everywhere, and the expectation is a little bit higher over there. But if you can start the crowd out right, then you got them for the rest of the set. So in Texas, I like to wait a little bit more for the end of the night when the people get a little bit buzzed up, a couple of beers in them, and then they start. It's easy to get them going, but they're basically the same. They're basically the same as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, it's the type of jokes you want to watch out for. Like in California, I'm more careful with the environment and green earth than I am in Texas, So
Yeah.
it's the type of jokes you want to. And once you network with a lot of comedians, you can find out what's a good idea, what's bad, what should I not talk about in California or in Texas. So, and on the internet, a lot of comedians are willing to friend you right away because they want to build their network, and you want to build a network. Maybe start an alternate profile for building a network with a bunch of comedians.
Yeah, it's a good idea. So get well networked and just differences in content is what I'm hearing. I had a great question, but it slipped my mind. Let's see. Well, let me just ask the question on my mind. Have you ever had a joke where people didn't think it was funny, but you were like, I know this joke is funny, and you kind of turned it around? Has that ever been an experience for you?
Every comedian has that. They swear they'll write 20 jokes. They swear it's funny in their own head, in my own head.
Yeah.
And maybe only one of them might come out with a chuckle. So that's, like I said, that's where people get all butthurt the first time. You got to fight through that. And that means you have to write 20 jokes all the time to find one good joke. That's what that means. So, if you take it like that, then it'll work out. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. And I'm trying to think of that question. I had a really good question to ask you. Let me see if there's any questions in the chat.
Okay.
So Aaron has a question here. Do you ever use any of your military experience in your comedy material?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All my life experiences, and those are the best things to use. There's something that's always funny that's happened to you in your life, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
And also, not just my military, because I'm a sailor. And, there's controversy just in that. Don't even start. I know people are always laughing right now. Okay, but I'm a sailor.
Yeah.
And Marines and sailors always knock on each other. And I do a lot of that, a lot of talking trash on the other forces. And actually builds camaraderie amongst, the sailors and the soldiers that are out there. So, yeah, naturally, I love doing. I love going. That's why I love going to work for veterans organizations and smacking on the Air Force guys. They're the easiest.
Do you have a favorite Air Force joke that you're comfortable saying?
Yeah. I don't think this one's too bad. What do you call an Air Force guy that's standing between a Navy guy and a Marine? Pregnant.
Very good. Very good. Those are crazy. Yeah, I've seen some of your material. It's pretty funny stuff. Um, let me see what else we got here. I had a question, but I forgot it. But let me see. Do you have any jokes about sailors? You said you were a sailor. Any jokes about that?
Um, no, of course not.
Yeah.
I can't dog my own. I can't dog the Navy. I dog everybody else, you know?
Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. Let me see.
you gotta pay for all this stuff here, man.
No, you gotta pay. You gotta pay. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Any upcoming shows that you have coming up?
We're gonna do some charity fundraisers, comedy festivals or comedy shows, comedy charity fundraisers, and large events for large stand downs, which will include comedians, including me, in the future. But they're all to be announced yet. We're kind of waiting on COVID. I don't want to throw shows or really attend much right now because COVID's going crazy. But
Yeah.
Yeah, and a little time. I'm not in a rush for anything except for doing my charitable work, but everything else can wait on hold for a while, you know.
Okay. I remember my question. It was a big question I was going to ask, which is that, sometimes it's hard for me to be funny. I feel like I'm being funny and everyone thinks it's serious, or I'm being serious and everyone thinks it's funny. So what advice would you have maybe someone like me who just wants to implement more humor into what they're doing, maybe their work life, their public speaking? How can you be funnier? What is the formula for being funnier? Have you thought of anything like that before?
Yeah, I think it's just not taking life so seriously. You still got me? I can. Okay, just not.
I got you. Yeah.
Don't get. It's been recently. It seems like a lot of people have gotten more offended easier these days.
Yeah.
You know, and you say one sentence they don't feel, and they hate you for some reason. But
yeah,
less people. So you got to rise above your anger and hate. I pray.
Yeah.
I ask God to give me the humor, give me those feelings, brighten somebody's day instead of ruining it for them or making it less pleasurable.
Mm-hmm.
And always have that in mind. First, you got to be nice, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And if you are, and you're willing to suffer a little bit being a startup comedian, it'll benefit you like that. And that's the attitude you got to go out. You got to live being a little bit more funnier, a little at a time. Don't expect and don't be disrupted by jokes and laughs that don't work, and even in the workspace. But encourage people also to be humorous around you. Hey, you heard any good jokes lately? Stuff like that. So you want to be a two-way thing out in the social world.
Very good. So you basically you focus. It's almost like you tune into the funny in your life. You're looking out for it, and you're not being like this super stiff guy. Like, that's not funny, because then no one would ever joke around you.
You have to be more forgiving. Yeah. You have to be more forgiving.
Very cool. I like that. And I remembered my good question, or I thought it was a good question that I wanted to ask you. It's how do you deal with a heckler? Have you ever dealt with hecklers, and any advice for dealing with people who are heckling, or maybe just being negative, things like that?
Yeah.
When you're on stage.
That's another thing you need to prepare for in advance. There's going to be drunks in the audience if you're doing an actual show. Hecklers, they're everywhere, and the best way to deal with them in my case is I've only had one. I think people don't mess with blind veterans when they get up on stage too much. They're listening pretty hard. But I've seen a lot of comedians, they have already jokes ready to go. It usually only takes a good one or two words like, okay, something like that.
Yeah.
And then move right on to your next joke.
Okay.
And if they keep going, eventually the crowd will actually shut them up, because they paid for that to see you up there, or they're paying a lot of money for those drinks and stuff. And usually the ownership will usually remove them too. So let them bring the attention to themselves. So the people, eventually they'll be gone. I don't worry about them. I don't worry about them. They're part of it. They're part of it. There's cracks in every sidewalk.
Very cool. And I want to ask you if you have any favorite local comedians or favorite little known comedians that you think are really funny that people should check out. I would just say that people should check out your shows because you're very funny, of course.
Thank you.
Any favorite local comedians? Any little
Oh
known
yeah,
comedians?
yeah. There's a ton of them here in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Clifton Simmons, Quasi Williams, Joshua Tibet. I mean, oh my gosh, I just had a brain freeze on that one.
Yeah.
Zachary Tibbet.
Yeah.
Zachary Tibbet. He actually has actual Tourette's syndrome, but he uses it in his comedy. It's so good. It's really funny. And then there's so many others out there here in San Antonio. The talent is really great, and they've really been practicing. I really encourage and support local comedy.
Yeah.
And from Houston, I love Jesse Payton. Watch out for that name. He's going somewhere. He's a great guy.
Mm-hmm. What was that, Jesse? Can you say it one more time just to make sure I get it?
Jesse Payton.
Okay, Jesse Payton. Very good. And I'm getting some questions here in the audience. It says, do you ever crack jokes about people who are sighted?
That's pretty much what my set is about. I make fun of sighted people who ask me dumb questions a lot. My comebacks are mostly sarcastic and things people didn't think about, So yes, because almost every comedian that I deal with in a show where I'm at is going to crack a blind joke, and everybody's going to look at me, and I'm going to be sitting there waiting for it. So when I go up, I make fun of all of them at one shot. So, and that's one thing. If you have some kind of disability, don't get butthurt if you're going up with a disability. You got to be ready to defend it and bring it down on all these other people. Most of the time, comedians who tell a blind joke, that might be just the funniest joke in their whole set. It's even funnier when I'm out there and people know I'm out there, and I'm glad to help. So that's the way I look at it,
Yeah.
And yeah.
Right.
And yeah. So
has anyone ever come up to me and be like, "Hey, are you joking about me in this set?" Has anyone ever said that to you?
Oh no. If I joke about somebody, they know who I'm joking about.
Just say it. That's awesome. I love it.
Oh yeah, no, I make sure that person's pointed out. And if they do blow a blind joke on me or about me, when it's my turn, I'm going to tear them up.
Yeah, very.
And
cool.
Most people don't expect that. I don't know. I guess they expect me to go in the corner and cry. No, I'm ready.
Just go out.
I want it. I love it. Bring it.
And another question I have here in the chat is, who is your favorite comedian right now, currently?
Oh, wow. I guess nationally, I love Fluffy, Gabriel Iglesias.
Okay.
And nationally, locally, I would say Quasi Williams. He's really come around and he's really kicking butt here in San Antonio.
Quasi Williams and then Fluffy. We all know Fluffy.
Yeah.
Gabriel. Okay. And another question I have here in the chat is, out of all the clubs that you performed at, what's your absolute favorite club?
Laugh Out Loud Comedy Club.
Okay. Shout out. That's here in San Antonio. Laugh Out Loud Comedy Club.
Yes. Laugh Out Comedy Club is where Central Park Mall used to be in San Antonio. And I just love the place. I see a lot of great, and I've met a lot of great comedians there too. One thing is not being narcissistic and appreciating the comedy. Even when they're funnier than you, almost everybody's going to be funnier than you when you start out. But go see some shows in person. A lot of people haven't really done that yet. They've seen it on TV. So yeah, I encourage going out and supporting comedy, local comedy, national comedy, all of it, because in person is totally different. Now I know it's because of COVID, times are tough, but they are taking good precautions over there at Laugh Out Loud Comedy Club and just about everywhere. So if you're going to go to the grocery store, you can laugh too. But I do wish everybody to be very careful and wear your mask and keep your hands clean, wash over and over again, especially during the times when you're out and about.
Yeah, definitely take precautions. And I mean, I've noticed just going to comedy clubs makes me funnier. So I could see that you hang around funny and you become funnier, and it helps in that area.
It breaks a lot of stress too. It does break a lot of stress.
Yeah, very cool. And I have another question here. The chat is popping off. I have Samya. Hey, Samya. According to you, which is the most important element to become confident among a larger audience? How can people get more confident speaking in front of large audiences?
Practice, practice, practice. A lot of people just think of their jokes, but never say them at home and create the flow. And keep going and keep repeating and repeating till you have it down to an art. You really need to speak out loud at home first before you go out in front of an audience, and watch how you segue between jokes and take deep breaths. Make sure you're before you go on stage, take big deep breaths, shake loose, like a little PT exercise where stretch out, just like you're getting ready for the rest of your day. Don't drink. A lot of people go up there drunk. That's a bad move. But stay focused, laser focused, and repeat your set. Remember, you're basically repeating, a couple of paragraphs on a 5-minute set. So you got to memorize. Once you memorize, you say it over and over, and you can say it over and over again. You'll be very confident. You'll be very confident when you go up on that stage. You have to totally memorize word for word and have a couple of comebacks for some hecklers that you can say real quick and then get back to your set.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. That's very good tips. I think that's a good place to leave on the comedy. Of course, the charity work is also aligned with the comedy. But
and one thing I do want to say before we do that is I wish I followed my own advice.
I've seen you up there drunk. I don't know what you're talking about, Sonny. No, yeah. Okay. And then preparation, I think the key there is that preparation really builds the confidence that you need. So just prepare beforehand and you'll feel the confidence.
Yes, definitely. Recite.
Awesome. And then, some great tips here. Just to recap, you talked about being a professional, treating it like work. It is work. So treat it like something like a job that you go to every day. If you want to do comedy, and if you're scared, just get out there and do it. You survived 2020, so you can do comedy. If you're funny.
By the way, 2020 is the most ironic year to be blind in.
I never thought about it. Yeah. It really is. Yeah.
Thank God it's gone.
And we're in a new year. Things are getting better, so it's awesome.
Yeah.
When it comes to charity, how did you get started with your charitable interests with these different organizations? And how did you kind of find that as something that was meaningful or had a purpose in your life? How did that happen?
Well, that's what I learned growing up Catholic here in San Antonio. It's not all about praying and going to church. You got to get out there and do stuff, and I've always noticed my church, feeding the homeless or doing good things for its members, helping out with bills and stuff like that. And I got into that way young, and I've always believed in giving back. And even though I became blind, and that too is another thing I started to do. And I almost promised that if I make any money doing comedy, I would put it towards a charity of some type, because I'm okay with my finances because of my service, and I don't really need the money, so I want to apply that to that, and I also contribute a $200 a month to charitable causes of some type.
Yeah.
And, like I said, I grew up with it. With that in my mind, you got to give back something.
Yeah.
Whether you're donating 10% to your church, I like to donate that 10% out to the community. And, make things happen. And I like to yell it out on the mountain about doing things like this to other people and get them into it. The networking is so good. You meet the best people, like I met you, Joe, and I met a lot of great people throughout life. And I've never met so many people as I have within the last 2 years when I really got into it. Yeah. Really just poured my heart into it. And so much so I had to start my own foundation. I didn't want to be restricted to the rules of other foundations. So I could do more. And and that's what my job is these days. I don't earn money at it, but and I don't want to earn money at it. The whole idea is just to give and help people feel better. Because if anything, last year was the year that I just had to do it. There's so much suffering out here. It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Could you tell us a little bit more about your foundation that you started, the Love is Funny Texas? You call it the Lift Foundation San Antonio. Could you tell us more about that you started?
I just started really in October.
Yeah.
And I'm gathering volunteers. I'm going to be applying for grants. And initially, I started it with the idea that I was going to hire veteran comedians to entertain other veteran services organizations at their shows. Because although, yes, it is nice for veterans when our veteran comedians, when they do a show that they volunteer and give their time for, that's great. But a lot of them need the money right now. So that was the idea to start with, but it's changed and it's grown into a much bigger thing for me. I'm still supporting veteran comedians. Just COVID doesn't allow me to throw a show just yet.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be responsible for the spread. And especially not amongst my veteran comedians. But it includes a lot more. Anybody asks me for help, I want to have funds in a way and raise funds to be able to help them right away. And that feels good when I can help somebody pay a bill, especially somebody who's either a veteran or disabled in the community. When they call, I know so many people now in both of those areas. And when I find somebody that needs some kind of help, I just want to be able to immediately grab funds and do that. You can't do that with other, when you're enrolled with other organizations. There might be red tape. And just like Fred Alvarado of Broken Warriors Angels, doing it this way allows me to cut through all the red tape and put a plate of food in somebody's face right away, that needs it or something, pay a bill. Or, be able to refer people to other organizations that can help, but I can provide relief immediately. So I'm giving them a lift till all the other organizations can kick in, basically.
Yeah.
And some people just don't know what's available to them and what's out there, especially veterans. A lot of veterans, after they got out of the service, didn't want help from the government anymore. But there's still a lot out there. And there's a lot of organizations that will help you outside of the VA or the government, like Fred's organization and my organization.
Very cool. What advice, you mentioned that, for any veterans watching, what advice would you give them for making sure they're maximizing the benefits that they can get and not just leaving stuff on the table?
Definitely go to authorized sources on the internet, like va.gov, and also the state of Texas or your state will normally have extra benefits for veterans that have nothing to do with the VA or the federal government. Research. It takes research. If you find yourself in need or you need something, there's some organization out there who's going to help you out with it, or the government or the state or even the city might have, even the county. Bear County has its own different things that it does do for veterans. They'll help you sign up. The Texas Veterans Commission, they'll help you sign up for all your your disability. And on the internet, they have everything that's available out to you. Watch out for fraudulent organizations. They're out there. You shouldn't be giving money for help.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not helping anything. So you shouldn't be paying for anything unless you're joining an organization proper that we know is legit. So you got to be careful of the scams and learn what's available to you out there. It's all out there on the web. And once you find a few good people by coming out to like outreach programs for veterans, you can ask those people who might help you with other things, and they'll usually have better answers or point you in the right direction to help save you time. But it's a job to get all your benefits, and you need to treat that as a job also.
Yeah. Very good.
And after I found out all that was available to me, I was surprised because all these years after I got out of the Navy, I could have gotten some disability payments for my hearing loss.
Yeah.
That happened in the Navy because we fired large cannons out there at sea. And if I had put that little check, that little disability check into a savings account and never touch it, just let it automatically go into that account, at this point, I would have had a 6-figure savings account. So, and we got, as soon as they get out of the military, start applying for all their benefits, report all their anything that happened to them that might cause them pain. As soon as you get that all down, documented and reported, the better. Don't just come out of the military and just say, I want nothing to do with it anymore. If you're honorably discharged, it's your job to make sure you know what's coming to you, because you can more easily get property, a home, several homes now. You can use your educational grants, so forth and so on. So
similar message. Yeah, you're talking about it treated like a job to get all your benefits that are for you. They're for you, so get them.
Yeah, they're paid for. They're sitting there. If they don't get used, then that's a shame. That really is a shame. It's something you earned as a veteran. And even if some of those benefits for the VA don't apply to you, there's other organizations that will help you out with the same exact things.
Yeah. Very good. And, I'm sensing a theme here. Also, you talk about the value of networking too with other people who've done it, so you know what to get. So I think these are just success principles, basically. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And you'll find actually it's more or less getting to find out who that person is. They'll help move things along. Actually is important, so in certain regards.
Very cool. And Sonny, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned through working with different charities, starting your own charity? What's the biggest lesson you've learned throughout that whole journey?
Oh, wow. That it's very fulfilling for me. And that's important, that you're doing something you really like and that you want to do. Helping others is gospel to me now, more than ever. I found that the more I give, the more I tend to get stuff, and the cycle builds. You're rewarded. The karma is there. No matter what you believe in, whether it's being Catholic, Christian, atheist, there's a karma that's in there. And that karma really helps you think more positively. It's a cycle of love, and it makes you love yourself. It helps you to love yourself, and that's what's important. You got to love yourself first, because before you love the rest of the world. And it's a circle, because who knows where the chicken or the egg is in time, but it's got to start somewhere. It has to start somewhere, and that really is important to your own physical and mental well-being. Even if you have just start a goal of raising, I don't know, somebody who needs some medical equipment or something like that, start a little fundraiser for them. Do something. You'll feel so much better. And yeah, and you'll want to do more. And that's what's important. You know, at this time, we really got to get rid of the me only me thing and start helping each other.
I like that. Very, very powerful message on just the value of giving. It comes back to you definitely, and it comes back to you in ways you don't even expect.
It's become more important to me than the comedy, and I will always, I need that comedy for my own stress relief and the camaraderie I have with all the friends I got out there in that world. But that the actual charity work I'm doing is right now is just that's what we've been able to accomplish in the last month with the last guy, the guy we're working on right now to help, a blind veteran who was neglected, left to die, starving, basically almost knee high in cat waste from feral cats that were in his home, living by himself out by a cemetery. I mean, he called crying, needing help. And, you know, we've got him completely taken care of. We got a bunch of Marines out there. We're doing fundraisers for him to get his house fixed up. And now he's crying with joy.
That's
and
awesome.
yeah. He's going blind. I mean, he is actually almost totally blind. And we're getting him the help he deserves. And my charity, my personal deal with my Lift Foundation is basically a one-on-one. I can only really deal with one person at a time, but and I look for the worst case scenarios out there. And I got nurses out there looking for blind veterans and blind people who might be in distress or might be taken advantage of. Unfortunately, that is out there. And that happens to the majority of people who go blind. They just fall into that crack. And once I find them, I find out about them, I'm going to get them some help. I don't care what it takes. So.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way that, could you send me a link so I could put in the description so people could donate to that if they'd like to, the cause that you were talking about?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, you don't have to do it now. I'm saying right out after the video, because the video will be on YouTube forever.
Yeah, we got a fundraiser going now for $10,000 for John, specifically for the Marines who are helping John so they can get all the basics and all the repair materials, construction materials, cleaning materials. And the fact that he's kind of rural, you know, getting them the gas that they need to get out there, and food supplies, and we're up to almost $500 right now.
Wow.
And you can find the fundraiser for John Herrera on Facebook, just with a quick search, fundraiser, or look under my name, Sonny G. Valdez. And you go into my profile, I believe you can pop up the fundraiser there pretty easily. So that's Sunny spelled with the SUNNY, like it's sunny outside, and then G Valdez. If you go on my profile, or if you look on my organizations, the South Texas Blinded Veterans Association, or the Lift Foundation, or my Sonny G comedy page, all on Facebook, you should be able to find it real quick there. Just go back a couple of posts. Don't forget to like those pages. On Facebook, it's going to be South Texas Blinded Veterans Association. Then you'll see a little parentheses that says BVA. For my comedy page, it's Sonny G Comedy. And then Lift Foundation is for the quick search. If you put Lift San Antonio, no spaces, the page will pop right up in the search.
Yeah.
And I'll send you a direct link to the fundraiser. And if you get to like those pages, you'll find out always know about any of my fundraisers here in San Antonio, and any of my comedy shows that are going to be fundraisers when they pop up, when I'm able to do them after COVID settles down. So,
Sonny, we're almost wrapping up here. Could you lift the camera a little bit? There we go. Perfect. Just wanted to make sure we had a good angle, and for the Generation Z out watching, we got to know our angles.
I'm sorry, ladies, I'm married, so sorry about that.
He's married. We have a comment thanking you for your service. I want to thank you for your service too. I don't know if I've ever thanked you before, but
and everybody out there, thank you for being worth fighting for.
Awesome. I like that. And final question on charity. I wanted to ask you, is there like a very rewarding story? If you think back of like the most rewarding story of thing that's happened through charity, what pops in your mind?
right now it's what I'm working on right now with this veteran. It
Yeah.
really is, because he was on the edge of death, either from wanting to check out himself, or from his actual environment, or for the
Mhm.
people that were stealing from him or taking advantage of him. He was really close to that. I mean, literally on the knife's edge. And we came in
Mhm.
and rescued him, and it's a great feeling. Other ones are, just being part of the, you know, of volunteering for something, and that goes for many, many things I've done. And every time it's always brought me up and made me feel good. So, but right now,
Yeah.
the one thing we're working on right now is probably for me the most impressive thing I've done. And so many people have jumped in. Um, it's just fantastic. The Marines that have jumped in, the organizations that are involved. So there's like 5 different organizations involved with this case
Mhm.
right now, and day by day, everything has improved for him greatly.
That's awesome. Very cool. And wanted to be respectful of your time. I try to do these usually within an hour. So I want to ask you, and it doesn't have to be regarding comedy, doesn't have to be regarding charity, but just if you could only say one thing to the audience, one important message that you wanted the audience to hear, what would that one thing be?
Learn to take time to laugh, 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 and laugh. It heals the body. It's actually physically good for the body. Enjoy more comedy, um, and laugh. It's so important, and that's would be my message for sure.
Awesome. Take time to laugh. Helps your immune system. I've heard. I'm not a doctor.
It helps the body in every way, because just getting that oxygen in when you have to breathe, when that laughing makes your lungs work harder, your heart work harder. It's a
Yeah.
little cardiovascular lung therapy workout for you.
Mhm. Any upcoming shows that you think people should go to that you know about, that they're with really funny comedians?
Right now, we had a good run here right towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
Um, uh, you're going to find in San Antonio the best comedians going to Laugh Out Loud, but also support local comedy where you're at. There's somebody, if you look hard enough on Facebook, there's somebody throwing a small show at a restaurant somewhere locally, and go have a dinner and watch a show and support the local comedians. Um,
Yeah.
that's really many times that's going to be just as good as going to the big comedy shows, because
Yeah.
these guys are out there. They're breaking they're trying. You know, they're sticking with their guns, and there are a
Mhm.
lot of good small comedy shows that are out there. So
Yeah.
pick one. They're out there. Just find them on Facebook, and pick one that's close to you, or at the type of restaurant that you like. I know Little Italy over here has meatball comedy. I
Yeah.
started doing a lot more comedy and charities there in both together. Um, Meatball County has them. There's several organizations out there, or several groups out there that are doing comedy. Um, uh, I think it's what is it? Antisocial comedy here in
Okay.
San Antonio is doing a great job. Uh, but if you look around on Facebook, that's where you'll find them. They do like to promote on Facebook a lot, all the local comedy and events out there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Shout out. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I wanted to shout out Alex Reyes, who does the meatball comedy, because I've been to a few of those and they're very funny. And the
Yeah.
first time he heckled me from the stage, he was making fun of me sitting there. And
Yeah, there's a lot of a lot of young, fresh comedians out there trying to get their start,
yeah.
and it's always been a fun show, and good food over there at the ballroom at the Little Italy, and
Yeah.
they keep it safe, minimum crowd. They do half the capacity, and again, great food, great talent. Jesse Payton's been there. A lot of our local favorites have been there, and he's still doing it out there. You can just look under either Little Italy or Meatball Comedy or Comedy Live Productions. That's Alex Reyes's business front.
Mhm.
Um, and you'll have a great time. It's a great way to have a date at an Italian restaurant with some laughs.
Yeah.
Nice ballroom. It's a beautiful ballroom
Yeah.
with the skyline of New York on the wall in the background. And
Yeah.
I recommend it highly. And any local comedy, Um, I think who's Cleto Rodriguez does occasional shows at
Oh,
Los
yeah.
Chiladas, and man, the food's really good there, and everybody knows Cleto.
Yeah, he's
And
he's on the news, right? Yeah.
he brings in other great comedians too, um, and yeah, there's shows going on everywhere here in San Antonio, and everywhere where they're allowing it.
Yeah.
So look for them. They're much more intimate, and they're in many cases they'll be much funnier than
Yeah.
and you'll see more different people. Different people get up there,
Right.
and that's a good place, especially for people aspiring to try out comedy too. So, and you get your dinner too.
Yeah.
I love those. I love those type of shows.
Yeah. I know what you mean. There's a different energy. It's more intimate, like you're saying, and it's kind of like, is this person going to do a great job? Are they going to do okay? Like, how are they going to do? And you're rooting for them, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. That since COVID, that's become a more blossoming type of way to get your comedy in person.
Yeah.
Um, and and a lot of guys are getting a lot of people are getting their feet wet doing comedy in this way.
Yeah.
So,
So go out.
yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Everyone, be sure to go out there, support your local comedians, get drunk,
Please,
heckle them. No, I'm just kidding.
you don't have to get drunk, but it's usually a 2-item minimum somewhere. But there's packages where it's not about having to get a buzz. You don't have to.
Yeah.
A lot of these comedians will make you laugh without the beer. Trust me.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of guys I know out there are really good.
Yeah. No, I don't drink, and I'm there and I'm cracking up the whole time. Sometimes I'm just like, can't stop laughing. So good stuff. Anything you want to promote before I let you go, Sonny?
Make sure and check out like my Facebook pages. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Lift Foundation San Antonio, Sunny G Comedy, South Texas Blinded Veterans Association. I'm totally blind, and I actually do those pages on my own with no help.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure they'll be a lot better once I get some help. So we're doing those, and again, support local comedy as much as possible, but be careful, guys. This COVID is going crazy right now.
Yeah.
Just be careful. Care of yourself before comedy first. If places seem to be too overcrowded, um, um, and they might oversell stuff, you want to be careful. Back away from the crowd, or just don't go and ask for your money back. It shouldn't be an overcrowded, unsafe situation you're getting in. So yeah, take care of yourself first. Definitely.
I like that. So thank you, Sonny. It was a pleasure to have you on my YouTube channel. I'm not sure if this is a podcast or a podcast.
It's great for you having me on, and great to have you personally as a friend. I love you to death, man. You've really helped me out in a lot of charitable ways, and you yourself, man. Everybody should give Joseph there, a big round of applause because he's been into it, and he loves comedy, and he's been a good friend, a great friend to me and my wife. So I love you, man.
Oh, thank you, man. It's both ways. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that we met each other, that we're friends now. It's awesome. Learned a lot through knowing you. And anyone watching, be sure to check out Sonny G. Check him out on Facebook. Check out his pages, and also Lift Foundation S San Antonio. Check that out too. And South Texas Blinded Veterans Association. If you want to help, feel free to reach out, and I can get you in contact so you can help in any way that you want to, either monetarily if you want to do that, or with your time help, because it's so rewarding to help. It's hard to describe how rewarding it is to help other people and really see that. So live it, do it. It's 2021. And final thing I want to say is I want to do some self-promotion. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. If you want to check out more of my interviews, they're going to be getting wild. They're going to get crazy. You're going to be surprised by some of the interviews I get this year. You can trust me on that. And so be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss them. I love you guys very much for watching. I thank Sonny, my good friend Sonny over here. And everybody,
Thank you.
have an amazing day. Bye, Sonny.
All right. Take it easy, Joseph.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.